Well, this is a wonderfully decadent chocolate cake that actually you can enjoy coming straight out of the oven, either warm or even at room temperature. And now that you have an extra brick oven right here, you can actually sit down with your guest, enjoy the company the time that the chocolate cake is baking in the oven. But let's do that recipe together. First, over here, I have some chocolate and some butter, which has been melted over a double boiler. I'm just gonna let it set here so it becomes to room temperature, because I will be mixing that chocolate mixture later on with some egg yolks, and I wanna make sure it's not too hot when I will putting it into the egg yolks. In the meantime, over here, I have the mold that I will be actually pouring the mixture later on in it and baking it. I'm just gonna brush that mold with the butter. I'm really gonna coat it really nice and evenly. And like I said, it's almost, when you're doing a souffle, I really wanna put a nice thick coat all around. So basically, not only actually to avoid that the cake actually sticks, but what I wanna do here is I wanna coat the whole mold with some sugar. So later on, when you're gonna be actually eating the cake, at the end of it, you're gonna get a little extra sugar, extra sweetness, and therefore so much better. So now I'm lining out the mold with a parchment paper that I cut earlier, the size of the mold. And again, I want to put another little layer of butter on it. So here we are. So once I have that, I'm going to remove it. And I'm just going to put some sugar right into it. So I'll put all the sugar and then put another mold right over here. And you see what I'm doing right now is actually, like I said, I will coat the mold nicely and evenly with some sugar, because later on the chocolate cake will really pick up that sugar coating right there. So my mold is ready. I put it right over here. So now at that stage, I'm really gonna start with the mix or the batter to make my chocolate souffle cake. Over here, I have some egg yolks, and I will put some sugar in it. So whenever you're actually pouring sugar over egg yolks, make sure you don't let the egg yolk and the sugar sit without beating it together, because those egg yolks actually will burn with the contact of the sugar. So right away at the contact, let's start on beating them. I really want to beat them long enough that they become nice, fluffy, and like a lemony consistency. So I think I have the right consistency over here. I'll stop beating the egg yolk, and I will add the chocolate right into it. There we go. So now I have my chocolate, which is basically room temperature here. I'm just gonna pour the chocolate into it. And this is actually the chocolate that I melted it with some butter. And there we go. So once I have that, and I'm gonna put it aside, and I'm just gonna mix that very nicely and gently into it. Okay, I think we have it ready right here. So now what I need now, I have to actually change the whisks right over here. I'm gonna take them out, and I'm gonna clean up that bowl a little bit and set it aside. It's the perfect consistency, perfect mix that I want. Okay, I have that one ready. So now I will start on beating my egg whites. So over here, I'm gonna put the whisks back in there. The reason why I'm actually changing the whisk, I'm not using the one with the chocolate on it. If I would mix right now the chocolate with the egg white, my egg white would not rise actually. That's why always I need some clean whisks. So I'm gonna put just a tiny little dash of salt. That always helps the meringue to stiffen up much nicer. A little dash of water. There we go, and I'm just gonna start on whisking the egg white. And now I'm just going to start on adding a little bit of sugar. And the sugar, we're adding it little by little so your meringue gets really nice and firm. Okay, now you can see how my meringue really came up nice and firmly, and that's the consistency that I really want to obtain. And I'm gonna stop now beating those egg whites. They're nice and firm, but not too stiff. Basically what we're calling the soft peak. You see we have the little peaks showing up here. So we're gonna stop it right over there. And what I do now, I'm just gonna incorporate very slowly the egg white into my chocolate mixture right over here. So for that, I'm gonna take some of it first, not everything at once. Here we go, and I'm just gonna start on folding it. And once you're folding it under, just make the movement with the bowl by twisting the mold, and very gently you're mixing in that chocolate and that egg white. And you can see how nice and light and fluffy the whole cake becomes. And once you have started to mixing some of the egg white, then you will see it becomes much easier to mix in the rest of it. So I'm gonna put about 3/4 of the egg white in here. And then after that, I'm add a little bit of flour just to keep everything nice and fluffy. And when I'm gonna bake it, it stays up. So I'm mixing again the egg white, and you see how nice and creamy that mixture becomes. Again, I will add a little bit of flour. So very gently, just put a little bit of flour in there, and that will give a little bit of body to my cake, that when the cake is hot and stays and comes out from the oven, it will not fall. So that's the action of the flour right there. All right, so once we have that, then I'm just gonna add the remaining egg white. And you can really see how nice it becomes. So let's add the rest of it. There we are. All right, I'm gonna move that over here. And just mixing it in, and always that same motion of stirring and mixing without doing it too fast, because you want to make sure that the cake actually doesn't collapse before you put them in the mold. So that's why I'm mixing it in very gently and carefully. Now I'm just gonna basically transfer into my sugared mold right over here. I'm just gonna pour right in here. It's the perfect fit. All right, and right after that, we're gonna put it straight in the oven. So once the mixture is done, of course, you wanna make sure you don't wanna keep everything sitting. You wanna make sure you have your oven ready over here, preheated at 375 degrees, and we're gonna put it straight into the oven. And that's gonna take about 35 to 40 minutes. Right over here. And now we're just gonna sit down and relax the time that the cake comes out of the oven. So I think the chocolate cake is ready right here. Let's see, oh my God, yeah, and it smells really great. And look at the result here. So let's actually put it right on the tray, and we're just gonna unmold it right here. And the idea is actually to serve it hot or even on the warm side. So here we're gonna open up the spring mold right here. And we can actually garnish it a little bit with a couple of raspberries. And basically, you can eventually serve some whipped cream on the side. Since it's nice and warm, it's gonna really complement the cake by itself. So once we have that, let's put just a little bit of powdered sugar of it. And here we go. We have our chocolate souffle cake, and here we go. We just serve it, and like I said, you can actually serve it warm, or even if you let it sit and it becomes to room temperature, I can guarantee you it's still a fabulous and decadent chocolate cake right over here.